I'm Heather Moran. I'm the CEO here at 6 and I. Guess what? Do you know where I was not 2 minutes ago? I was standing in the walk-in fridge. You think I'm kidding. Why, you might be wondering? You're not wondering. Because I'm hot as hell all the time, except when I'm not, and I never know what's going to happen when. So let me start by saying, I do not care that the entire 6 and I staff knows to look for me in the fridge before an event. I do not care that the entire 6 and I team and now an entire sold-out audience knows I'm going through perimenopause. Or menopause. No one can tell me. So welcome to the biggest hormonal party in town. Now, whether you're here at 6th and I with us in person or joining us online, thank you for being here with us tonight and for your support of a nonprofit. Now, I want to especially welcome people who have not been here before. Let me hear you. Who are you? Yay! Welcome. And for those of you who are new, this building has been here since 1908. It was a synagogue for 45 years, and then home to an AME church for the next 50. I know, right? When the church relocated and put the building up for sale, the highest bid was from someone who wanted to turn it into a nightclub. No denying it would have made a pretty great one, but this sacred space was destined for something more. It was saved within 24 hours, and for the past 21 years, 6th and I has served as a center for arts, entertainment, ideas, and Jewish life. And by attending our programs, you help fuel our mission to inspire more meaningful and fulfilling lives. We could not be more excited to kick off our 2026 year of programming with the founding member of the We Do Not Care Club, Melani Sanders. Less than 1 year ago, Melani created the club, which has managed to grow into a movement even faster than my chin hairs grow. There are 3 million members and counting of the We Do Not Care Club worldwide. Oh, I believe you, 6 million, shame on me. With her singular humor, vulnerability, and sincerity, Melani inspired us all by highlighting the things that she and the 75 million women in the US, did I get that right? Okay, great. Who are currently in perimenopause, menopause, or postmenopause no longer care about. Armed with her trusty highlighter and at least 2 pairs of reading glasses, Melani has helped so many of us who have felt misunderstood and invisible feel seen and valued. And tonight we're here to celebrate her and the release of Melani's first book, the official We Do Not Care Club Handbook. Now, for new and existing members, this is a trusted guide to the hormonal mayhem of midlife, and most importantly, a reminder that you are not alone. We are so fortunate to have Dr. Sharon Malone with us tonight. Last year, she was here interviewing Brooke Shields about the power and promise of midlife, and we've been eager to learn more from her ever since. For almost 30 years, Dr. Malone was an OBGYN and certified menopause practitioner, and is now dedicated to advocacy, education, and expanding access to menopause care. She's the chief medical advisor at Alloy Health, host of the podcast The Second Opinion with Dr. Sharon, and the best-selling author of Grown Woman Talk, which we have autographed copies for sale here tonight. She's also a Forbes 50 over 50 honoree. Love that. And the first person Michelle Obama goes to for medical advice, so I think we couldn't be in better hands. Thank you again to everyone here and at home for joining us. Please help me give a hot and bothered welcome to Melani Sanders and Dr. Sharon Malone.
Good evening, everyone. And you know what? I have to tell you, when I was looking at Melanie's other stops, and I said, wow, it's sold out in New York, it's sold out here. And my DC people did not disappoint. So thank you for that. See, people don't know that DC has the best book audiences, the best music audiences. Okay, we're gonna say. But you know what? See, she's gonna have to move to DC in a minute, I'm telling you. But you know, the one thing that Melanie has sort of given us all permission to do is to really speak to the things that we really do not care about. And you know, and sort of in keeping with that thought, I said, what is the thing that I do not care about? And I said, okay, I got it. The thing that I do not care about is this. I said, I do not care if preserving my peace hurts your feelings.
Absolutely.
Okay, that's not entirely true. I do care, but that's how deeply ingrained we as women have been sort of socialized to always care about other people more than ourselves. Melanie, please give us one thing that you want the audience to know that you do not care about tonight.
It's overwhelming to see this, y'all. If you watch me on social media, you know, one thing I say is that I'm going to do it scared. And right now, I'm doing it scared. I do not care about being fearful, about screwing up a sentence, brain fog coming in the way. Whatever it is, I'm going to give it all to y'all tonight.
Okay, so we're going to get this party started. So I want each of you to pick a neighbor and just say to them what you do not care about tonight. Come on, this is group participation.
Oh boy. Good Lord. Oh my God. I love it.
Wow.
Well.
Okay, we do not care about a lot of stuff tonight,
I know.
Oh my.
Yeah, we need about 30 minutes, right? But how good does it feel to say what we simply just do not care much right now?
Now, we're going to have some fun tonight, but part of the main reason that we're here is for Melanie, but I want to get a little bit of the history of who Melanie really is, because you are just being Melanie, and before you sparked this worldwide movement of the We Do Not Care Club, who was Melanie 10 months ago, before you made that fateful post?
You know, as we talk about where, you know, we've been in existence, the WDNC has been in existence for 8 months now, y'all. 8 months. I made that video on May 13th. Yes, 8 months later, a whole book. Before that date, you know, I've been a content creator for about 3.5, 4 years, and I've always loved to strengthen, inspire, and encourage the everyday woman, not through my words, but through my actions, so those visuals. I'm a mother of 3, and I'm married to a big O who's sitting right here. And the brief history, which a lot of things are covered in the book, but leading up to that May 13th date, I had a hysterectomy. What was that, in September of 2024. And I had no idea of what perimenopause was. And it hit me like a ton of bricks. I'm 40, I was 44 at the time, I'm 45 now. And I went into this dark place. And I'm not sure, well, I am sure. How many of you all know what that dark place could feel like? And that dark place is so isolating. It's like, what is wrong with me? Why do I feel this way? Why do I act this way? Why do I look this way? What in the hell is going on? And I sat with that for a long time because I honestly did not know. I did not know what perimenopause was. I had a great surgeon that performed my hysterectomy. That hysterectomy was done because I had fibroids. And I waited to get that hysterectomy because I'm just gonna let y'all in on a little secret. I was told, and a little fearful, because I had talked to some women and they said that after the hysterectomy, it lowered their sex drive. Mm-hmm. And you know, I be trying to be sure hook Big O up, you know, to make sure he get what he need, you know. Y'all know how that is. But so I took my time getting the hysterectomy because I was just fearful of a lot of things. And once I had the hysterectomy, it's so funny. And my best friend, I shared this at my last stop, and they thought it was pretty funny. So I'm gonna tell y'all too. I was so nervous when Big O and I had sex. I was like, Lord, please let me have the desire, let me want this man, because it's gotta work. It's gotta work, you know. And I don't want him to just get him. I need to get me too. Amen. And so, you know, we did it a couple times, and it's like, well, all right, you know, wasn't nothing too big about it, you know, nothing going on too much. But then I think on that third time, and I'm referring to, when I say get me, an orgasm. Baby, I had that orgasm and I was shouting. Thank you. And Big O thought he had did something. It's like, child, bye. But through all of that, with the hysterectomy, it brought about a lot of change in me. And it was all at one time. And Dr. Sharon, one thing what you and I were discussing was I had an IUD, and I also only have one ovary. So when I got this hysterectomy, you know, you taking out my uterus, my cervix, my IUD, and then I have the one ovary. So I just really think that my body just went into like shock. Mm-hmm. It went into like shock, and it hit me like a ton of bricks. Mm-hmm. It hit me, and I'm thankful because I wouldn't be here, you know, without feeling that way. But after I sat with it for a while and decided that I can't care anymore. That was the day on May 13th that I sat in my car at Whole Foods. I had ran in because I needed to get some more ashwagandha. So after the hysterectomy, I started to just do a lot of research and stuff. I didn't know about perimenopause. I did a lot of research, and ashwagandha was one of the things that I wanted to be sure that I implemented into my supplements. And child, let me tell y'all. So I keep my ashwagandha right here on my nightstand with my water, and every morning I was taking mine in the morning time. I wasn't on any HRTs or anything, but I woke up, and in the book I say that the ashwagandha is my prerequisite to life. Ashwagandha and then coffee. And so I go to get my ashwagandha, and the bottle was dark, and you know it had a little tissue in there, and I turned it over, and it wasn't nothing in it, and I started beating it, and it wasn't there. And I said, oh no. So I brushed my teeth, and I threw on whatever I could find, and I was at Whole Foods when they opened. By the time I got back in that car, I ran in, got the ashwagandha, got back in my car, and I took that darn thing so quick, and I just began to look at myself in the mirror. And I said, Melanie, what the hell is wrong with you, girl? Like, what's the problem? And I just really just was looking at from head to toe. And you all can see this in the in that video. That have you all seen the first video? That was an actual moment. Like, I sat there and I said, what is going on? And I said, and I had all this pressure in my head, like, Melanie, you gotta hurry up and get home and do something with yourself. You gotta look a certain way. You gotta be sure that you cook, you clean, you do what you gotta do work-wise. You just, Melanie, no. And then all of a sudden I said, you know what, to hell with all of that. To hell with all of it. Too much pressure. I decided in that moment that I was at capacity. At capacity. I'm sitting here judging myself, like, just, it was so much. But that's when I decided to hit that record button and ask, did anybody want to join me in a club?
You were not alone.
You were not alone. So that is where the We Do Not Care Club started. That video, when I hit record, by the time I got home about 20 minutes later, on each platform, because I'll release it on all platforms, completely viral. And everybody, I looked at my husband, I said, oh, something different about this video. Because I've had viral content before this, but this was something different. Mm-hmm. And sure enough, we have a lot of members in this club.
Yeah. Well, Melanie, I want to go back to what you were saying because, you had surgery before, one of your ovaries was already gone, you had a hysterectomy. And the question I have for you, which I'm really curious about, is that when you finally decided to have your hysterectomy, how long had you had symptoms that led to your hysterectomy? I mean, there had to be some reason you waited. How long? How many? Was it years, months?
With the fibroids, I had fibroids for a while, but they just started to grow, and they were weighing down on my bladder. And I would say I went through a good almost year before I decided to go ahead and do the hysterectomy. Yeah.
Well, here's an interesting point that people don't really realize, in that 80% of black women have fibroids. And 70% of white women have fibroids. But the difference is just how big and how fast and how symptomatic they are. So that's kind of makes this perimenopausal thing interesting, because after you've had a hysterectomy, you're more likely to go into perimenopause and menopause more quickly. So it's more of an abrupt change, even if you have a remaining ovary. And that's where I want to get back to your doctor. Nobody mentioned that to you or talked about what to do after you had your hysterectomy?
No, and that was the lonely part about this, because I didn't know what was going on with me. But you know what? I do want to ask a question. Raise your hand if you have had fibroids, or what about a hysterectomy? Yeah. So for me, I didn't know, and my doctors didn't tell me, and I just had to, I found out through ChatGPT. At 3:26 a.m. when I'm up. But going through, Chat know all my business, child. I said, Lord, if they break into these computers and find something out, Lord have mercy. It's going to be a hot mess for real. But yeah, I had been experiencing some all of the symptoms and stuff for a while, and I forgot your question, Dr.
That's all right. See, it's all right. It's all right, because we're just going to pick up from wherever we left off. But here's the thing, because as a doctor, that should be part of the conversation, pre and post-operatively. And, it's unfortunate, but your story is really not unique. But once you finally talk to Dr. ChatGPT and you figured out, you have diagnosed yourself that now you are perimenopausal, okay, so now you looked for help. What happened then?
So I have an HMO, and meaning you can't just go where you want to go when you want to go. You got to go to the doctor, and they have to give you the referral and all of that. So I went to my general practitioner, and she ordered all my blood work, and she ran all the tests from the rooty to the tootie, and she said, "I want you to go to your gynecologist." So she sent me to my gynecologist, and my gynecologist said, "Okay, well, I want to send you to our hormone specialist." So, this takes time. You can't just go. You go to one doctor, then you got to wait 2-3 weeks, and then you go to the next. These co-pays, you got all the stuff that goes along with this, right? And by the time I get to the hormone specialist, I didn't know what I was asking for. I didn't know about HRTs. I didn't know anything. I just knew that someone right. And based off of, what Chet told me, that I'm in perimenopause. But I sit down with him, me and Big O, and he says, and I did say he, which he was the only doctor that specialized in all of the hormones. So if I had have just wanted pellets or creams, it was different doctor. And I don't know what the hell I want. I want my mind right. And so I sit down with him, and he says, well, your labs are normal. In fact, my testosterone was higher than usual. And he said, so what I'm going to suggest is you either get your blood work redrawn or go back to your general practitioner that sent me to you, because I could have an underlying condition.
Now, this is 2024, right?
Yeah.
Not 1964.
A hormone specialist, too.
A hormone specialist. Okay, that's appalling to me on so many different levels. But it happens, and it happens every day. Women are gaslit about their symptoms, and the one thing that I want all of you to know is that perimenopause, and Melanie was right, it's a clinical diagnosis, which means that you are perimenopausal if you're between the ages of 35 and 50, and you are having any of those symptoms that we talk about, hot flashes, brain fog, sleeplessness. Congratulations, you're perimenopausal. You don't need blood tests for that. You really don't. And it's a little bit surprising that that doctor, your hormone specialist, didn't know that.
My hormone specialist. And when I got in the car, me and Big O got in the car, and y'all know my leg's short, so I have to, I can't do that, but, Shabba. So, I know we do not care, right? But when I got in the car, now WDNC had already started. I had already done that video. And I got in the car, and the first thing I said, oh, am I a fraud? Did I just start a club talking about I'm in perimenopause and I ain't really in perimenopause? I said, boy, they about to cancel me. Good Lord. Because I just assumed that I was in perimenopause, right? But then the tears started to flow. And it wasn't for Melanie, though, because the one thing I'm going to do is advocate for myself. I think that I had to go through that experience in order to be here today. And when I sat there, I thought about, what if that was the woman who was just waiting on this appointment, to get some type of relief, and the dark days can get dark. They can get dark. And, I consider myself to have a pretty good life. And if I feel like this, and we know what sometimes when it's not good, the family's not doing good, the marriage not doing good, the job might be, we have so many things on our plates as women. And to go and be dismissed like that, what does that look like? But in all of this that has been happening to me and through me, it is happening on purpose. I had to experience that in order to be able to sit here today. It's disheartening. It's disheartening.
Yeah.
To go through this.
It is. Too many women suffer needlessly, because it's not like we don't know what to do about perimenopause or menopause. We do. It's unfortunate, and there's a long history about that, about why we got so misled about treating women in menopause. But part of it is, and a big part is our, and I say our, we in the medical profession, our indifference to women's suffering. You know, we sort of look at it like, well, you know, you got cramps, you got migraines, you got whatever, and we just sort of take that as that's just part of being a woman. And if we in the medical profession treat you that way, then imagine you start to believe that. We tell each other that, by the way, you know, that we think that that's just sort of how, that's part of, essential part of womanhood, suffering.
Yeah.
Let's not do that.
No, no. And you know, and within the WDNC, this is a sisterhood. I am going to preach sisterhood because we have to have each other's back. We have to. We have to. You know, y'all know my saying, if our sister have dry coochie, then we all have dry coochie. Yes. And I mean that. I mean it. And we are in this thing together. And the more that we can unite as women and really bring awareness to this and support each other, you know, them hot flashes in the middle of a meeting or something like that, go give our sister some tissue and let her, you know, play. Y'all wait a minute. She gonna be finished with this presentation in a minute. She need to, you know, get through this flash right quick. You know, we the bodyguards, okay, when our sisters are going through it, because we all know, and it can really be, and I say this a lot because honestly, just so isolating. You know, you just be feeling like you by yourself. Like, why am I so mean? You know, why do I wake up mad. I open my eyes and just be angry. I look over at big old good morning, ready to go off and don't even know why I'm going off.
Yeah.
So yeah. It's a lot. This is women, we go through a lot.
You know, Melanie, and that's why I think that what you have done and what you're doing is so important, is because we're normalizing this conversation. We're having it out loud. We want everybody to know. And we also want people to know this isn't just about women. This is about everybody in your life should know what is going on with you, because I think that, you know, that is the only way we're going to get the support and the help and the grace that we need to get through this transition. But I want to say this, because I think I know the answer, but I'm going to ask you anyway. Did you have any conversation with the elders, with your mother, with your aunties, or anybody? Had anyone said, hey, could you give me a little heads up here? No?
Nope. My mom, she was at the Miami event, and she apologized to me. I said, all this trauma.
Well, you know, isn't that funny? We have now gotten to the point in life where we speak openly about periods and, you know, pregnancy. And, you know, I'm old enough to know when all of that used to be shameful, where you couldn't breastfeed in public. Oh my God, you get pregnant, you'd have to leave your program as a resident. They wouldn't even let you finish. It's like, oh, go have that baby and come back when you're normal, that kind of thing. So we have got to have this conversation right now about perimenopause, about menopause, and I want all of you, I'm going to ask you a question too. Did any of you, were you given a heads up by your mothers just to say, hey, transition, this is what you're going to do? Okay, not many. Not many.
No.
Oh, well, good on you for that, because I certainly, you know, I know I didn't have my mother, but if my mother were alive, I know she would not have had that conversation.
Yeah.
There's no question in my mind. So this is where we've got to do better with the next generation in making sure that our daughters, our nieces, our young colleagues don't ever have to go through this and sit like you did in your car wondering, what the hell is wrong with me?
Yeah, for sure. You know, something I'm thinking about while you were talking, my mom and I, we've been talking a little bit more about, the hysterectomy and all of that. One thing that she told me that was very shocking was she wanted to get a hysterectomy, but they wouldn't do it because my father wouldn't sign off on it. And I was so shocked that was the rule. Like, how you gonna tell me what to do with my uterus?
Yeah, yeah.
They had to sign off on it back then. I would have been forging a signature. Just take me to jail.
Well, you know what? That was a thing. And we're not talking ancient history here. We're talking about when I was doing my residency and a woman was married, she had to get her husband's permission to get a tubal ligation.
Yeah, that same thing.
Crazy.
Yeah, crazy. But I guess the conversations are starting to happen more and more and more. And us as women, we just have to stand up, and support each other. And these are our bodies. And God knows if to explain the symptoms of perimenopause, menopause, and postmenopause, it's something every day. Do y'all wake up and be like, what's gonna hurt today? Who am I gonna be today? Yesterday I was Vanessa. I get so tired of apologizing to my family. It's so much, it's draining. It's just draining. It's draining.
But it doesn't have to be. And it doesn't have to be, and it means that, and we can talk about that, and I do talk about that extensively in my book, but when I hear talk about my book, we're talking about we do not care. But that's the point. Just know what your options are. Yes. Because it's important, and I think that, we don't have to sit in it forever. And because I hate to tell you, menopause is forever, okay? For those of you who think, I'm just going to hold out and wait until it's over, it's forever, okay?
Ooh,
forever, ever, okay?
But, I do have a question because I'm trying to figure out where am I in this. So you got perimenopause, right? And then, so I had a hysterectomy. So how do I know when I'm in menopause?
And you know what? That's... All right, so let me explain for those of you, what is even the difference between perimenopause and menopause? Okay, so if you think about a woman's reproductive life, starts at puberty and it goes through your peak reproductive years, which is probably in your 30s, early 30s. And then somewhere around your mid-30s to your mid-40s, that's when you enter that peri. All peri means is you're around the menopause. Your periods haven't stopped completely. They may be irregular, they may be too soon, they may be too far apart, but they're changing, your fertility changes, and that's when we start to get all these symptoms really that we associate with menopause. But you're still having your period, and you go into the doctor and your doctor's doing blood work and say, well, it's not that because it's normal.
Yeah.
Not true. So if you're between those ages, you have symptoms, congratulations, you're perimenopause.
Just like that.
But here's the other thing that confuses people. You had an IUD.
Yeah.
If we're saying, it's when your periods stop and it's been for a year, well, how do you know? Or you've had a hysterectomy. You are menopausal when your ovaries stop functioning. So when you stop producing an egg and you stop making hormones for good, then that's when you cross that line between perimenopause, where they work sometimes they don't, and then when you get to menopause, the shop is closed. We're done. And that just means you have no more hormone production that you make yourself. And that's really the difference, and it confuses people because there's so many different ways to be menopausal. You might be 30 years old and you have chemotherapy because you had breast cancer, and now your ovaries don't work anymore. And it's because the chemotherapy, knocked your ovaries out.
Yeah.
So that's why but it almost, for you and for most women, it's a distinction that is helpful only when you're having periods, so you know when is it abnormal if you bleed. That's why we sort of use that cutoff of a year, because if you're bleeding after menopause, that means something else. But once you've crossed that line, you are no longer making estrogen on your own. You're either going to have to take some, you're going to have to use HRT if you are symptomatic, or you will be in a low estrogen state for the rest of your life. And that has consequences. So that's the only reason why it's important, because it's just sort of where you are in that spectrum. But you're on the way to no ovaries, no ovary functioning.
No ovary functioning. Yeah.
No ovary functioning. And let me say this, for those, have you ever heard anybody say, you ask your mother or somebody else, say, well, Mom, when did you go through menopause? And she said, I didn't go through menopause. Have you heard that? And you know what? Yes, you did. Yes, you did. We all will. Whether you have symptoms or not, you're still going to be menopausal.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's the important part.
The one question that I did get asked pretty much on every stop was like what I'm doing for my perimenopause journey. I did start on estrogen, the estrogen patch, and it has definitely been a lifesaver for me in so many ways. Every sister's journey and every sister's story is different. And the one thing that I preach when you see me on social media is that it's a no judgment zone. You do what you got to do, okay, to take care of yourself. Everyone might have an opinion or don't do this or do that or this might cause that. Okay, I got it. But we have to do the research for ourselves. Everybody is so different. And for me, once I got that patch, about 2 or 3 days in, I woke up. I wasn't mad when I woke up. I woke up and said, something different about today. I ain't cussed nobody out that, it was. And I said, okay, I might like this little patch. And I've gotten it increased I think the dosage has increased 3 times. So for me, this is definitely the way. But for all of my sisters, y'all, we just got to take care of ourselves. And, and do what we got to do for us,
Right.
Don't worry about what nobody else is saying but your doctor or, the trusted professionals that can help you. So
Right. Yeah. And you know what? At least you went to Dr. ChatGPT, but so many of us are getting our health advice from our hairdressers, our trainers, and there are people I'm like, oh, and excuse me, what med school did you go to? But they're telling, oh, no, you got to try this, try that. And I will say this, and I'll say it loudly. If you are symptomatic, and if you so choose to, the most effective treatment for the symptoms of perimenopause and menopause is hormone therapy. Now, that is out there for you to choose. Should everybody? Up to you. But I think that we've too long sort of taken this off the table because of fear. And that's the thing we've got to have. So don't believe the hype. There's a whole discussion about why women have shied away from hormone therapy for so long. That was not always the case.
Yeah, and do the research for yourself, because a lot of times if such and such done told us something, we believe that, and it's like, girl, you lying, that. Now, why you gonna say that? But anyway, I'm gonna tell y'all let's go and I want y'all to turn to a page. This was a fun page for me in the book. So I'm debating on which one I want to do right quick, Dr. Sharon. Let's do page 89. Yeah, I can't see a thing.
All right, Melanie.
Okay.
Let me get my stuff.
So
we're about to get into it.
You got it? Yeah. That's right, child.
I got my glasses.
So this was a very fun. One night I was on TikTok, right? And I don't know, maybe some of y'all were on there with me. And I used to, one thing that, in our announcements, sometimes the sisters will say, we do not care, we have not showered in 3 days. Yes, you do. You better wash that Hot Pocket. And so I said, y'all, Hot Pocket gonna come for me after a while, the food, because, and I ain't about to get sued or nothing like that, so we need to change the name. So this 10 o'clock at night, we online trying to find a name for our vagina. And the name, the WDNC name is She Shed. But let's go through some of these names. And these are all names for my sisters. Vagina, Beaver, Bermuda Triangle, Bush, Cha-Cha, Cherry Pie. I'm gonna skip around a little bit. Cooter. Well, y'all know I say coochie, and they be telling me I can't say coochie. I'm gonna put that in the dictionary one day. Coochie go. Mark my word, because I always say dry coochie. Curly Sue. Lord. Okay, we got Kibbles and Bits. My intellectual property. The Juice Box. Well, all right. Nay. What else we have? We got Twat. Pocketbook. Now, Pocketbook was one. But one that didn't make it on. Oh, yeah, there it is. Thundercat. Thundercat. I like Thundercat. That was a runner-up right there, Thundercat. And I came up with She Shed. I said, She Shed was the winner. I tested it on my teenage son. He came in the room and I said, he asked for something, and I said, if you don't have a She Shed, then you can't have it. He said, what's a She Shed? I said, that's it right there. So that's the official name. So when you guys when my sister see She Shed, She Shed was the name. So that was that. But in this book, y'all, this book is so much fun. It's so Melanie. I'm all over the place. And it's a lot. And what my prayer is that we can get this book. I said I've heard a couple of comments, reviews, and they said, well, it's so small, Get out your readers if you can't see, okay? Because I wanted this book to be small enough to go in your pocketbook. And you could just take it around with you, and you and your girlfriends. That's right, child. Put it in your pocketbook and just, whatever you want to read. It's a little bit of everything in there. It's a little bit of everything. It's announcements in here. We have it all, but we got one more thing. I'm gonna read this page here. We're gonna turn to page 37. And this was the letter I wrote to my family. Let me grab me a little sip of water. Hold on here. Dear Sanders family, we are these are my, okay, so it's my husband and his 3 sons. Dear Sanders family, we are gathered here today to discuss someone near and dear to our hearts, me. In case you need a little refresher on who me is, let's go over that. For starters, every one of you has been inside of me at some point. Just saying. I've been called names such as ma, bruh, mama, also sweet thing, aka your loving wife who has met sexual quota for the past 20 plus years. I'm 45 years old and at a crossroads in my life. Most days I am just as confused as each of you who dwell in this property alongside me. Although my confusion makes much more sense than any of yours, because unlike you a-holes, they teenagers now. They teenagers, I'm in perimenopause. Most of you aren't great listeners. Jalen, which is my oldest, you know you are the exception, because he do listen. And the only way I know that you all are comprehending my words is through visuals. So here we go. Turn the page, y'all. So here. And you know, visuals help out a lot, don't they? Amen? So, figure A is full Melanie. You know, I had the regular menstrual cycle, the bob, just bobbing, breast bouncy. I had the bubble butt. The bladder was normal. Attitude towards motherhood, I love it. Attitude towards the future, excited about all the future plans. Attitude towards sex, fulfilling all her wifely duties. Attitude towards the family calendar, overly committed. New recipes, weekly play dates, laundry day, blah, blah, blah. Vision 2020, belly button was visible, waistline. I had the belt tucked in shirt. And child, I had the perfect landing strip. Y'all see that landing strip was there, wasn't it? So now we're going to fast forward 23 years to the woman you know today. Flat Melanie, highly irregular. The bob has left the building. My breast deflated, droopy, pointing south. Computer box booty. My stretch marks, calligraphy like bladder, uncontrollable. Attitude towards motherhood, been there, done that, got a trophy for it. Attitude towards the future, what future? Attitude towards family calendar, nope. Vision, needs multiple pairs of glasses throughout the day. Belly button, not visible. Waistline, elastic all the way. And that pubic hair, child, patchy gray, unmanicured bush that only the mirror and Big O can see. But he ain't complaining though, is he? Amen. But that was very fun. I cracked myself up, y'all, when I did this page. I said, Melanie, you don't have no sense. And I don't. So did you enjoy that, Dr. Malone?
Well, you know what? No.
Wait, can I say this right quick? So when asking for Dr. Sharon, I really wanted her to be here next to me. I said, she is so poised and put together, and I'm the opposite, child. But I said, that might be a dynamic duo.
But you know what? But you know, Melanie made me put on clothes today because I would have been home in my pajamas. So that's the other thing.
You could have came in your pajamas. We wouldn't have cared.
Right, so we've got some questions from the audience, both in-person audience and from our virtual audience. So I'm going to put a few of these questions out here. Okay, let's see. From Vanessa. If you could go back 5 years before perimenopause, what would you do differently?
Exercise. Child, I got to get this weight off of me now. And, I would have did one thing at a time. Now I got to try to get the weight off and, go through this. Should have been one or the other.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Okay. Let's see. Now, let's see here. The other one. Oh, this is from Marianne, who says, with your international fame bringing the symptoms of menopause to light, are you hearing that there is more money for menopause research? I can answer that, no. Yeah. Okay.
But we're going to find some.
We're going to find some. But this is where it's important. I'm going to give you guys a to-do before we leave. Okay, so this is from Barbara. This is about your fame and what's next. What amazes you most about the success of your videos and how well they have resonated with women of our age?
Just the fact that they have resonated so, y'all look, do y'all see these numbers? Worldwide. When I go live and I say, y'all tell me where you're from. And, we'll have Texas and Alabama. And then they'll say, Uganda, Ireland. I said, no, wait a minute. I said, go to your front door and put your foot out the door. Where are you? And that scared the hell out of me. It scared me. It scared me. It scared me. And y'all know I have shared this many a times. I put this out here because I am just Melanie. I am just Melanie, and I just decided to record one day and accidentally start a movement. I wasn't looking for. I wasn't looking for this. I wouldn't have never known to have dreamed this big. Mm-hmm. I just wouldn't have never known that. And it's a lot, y'all. And I don't know. I don't want to start all that crying. It's because y'all know I'm a crybaby sometimes. But it's a lot, to just see so many sisters just love you, like, just the way that you are. I'm not showing up. I put on a little eyeliner and stuff today because, I'm throwing a little eyeliner. I was on some new stuff earlier. But I'm just showing up as myself, and that's enough. And I've just come to the conclusion because as I ran from y'all. I cut that computer off for a while. After it started to grow, I am a content creator, but I'm not online every day. It's like I'm not consistent, y'all. And you be talking about the fearless leader. Shoot, child, I pissed my pants so many times looking at these comments. I said, my little panty liner company, they making money off of me, child, because I changed the panty liner a lot, talking about fearless. But I just really do think this had to happen to me. It had to happen to me and through me. And I'm just taking it all in. Am I nervous? Absolutely. And I don't have the answers. Like, I say my sister stand beside me. There's no one above you, and there's nobody beneath you. We stand beside each other at all times. So, as I navigate this too, I want to be sure. I hear this, Melanie, please don't change. Please. Baby, I wouldn't know how to change if I tried. I can only just be Melanie, and I just want to just be that voice for my sisters. And encourage and strengthen and inspire as many as I can by just showing up as Melanie.
Amen. Okay, now this is a very DC question, and this is from Susan and Gayla. Are you out here? Okay, Susan and Gayla. Okay, so here's the question. What tips do you have for those times when you forget what you're going to say in the middle of a sentence? DC lawyers in perimenopause need to know.
Listen, at this point, we just gonna own it and just say, you know what? I forgot what I was talking about. Mm-hmm. Y'all know how I do. I say, what was I talking about? I say that a lot. I say that with the brain fog and everything else that we have going on. And now that we're talking about it more, how many of us have stood at the refrigerator and just tried to figure out what was you just be standing there just looking. And my sons, they say, Mama, what you looking at? And I'm looking at them. Baby, I ain't thinking about you. I'm trying to figure out where I put my keys. Don't know, losing my mind, looking for my phone on my phone. But we gonna normalize that. Ain't nothing wrong with that no more. There's nothing wrong with that.
And here's some good news, is that the brain fog does get better.
It does?
It gets better. It gets better.
Amen.
It gets better. But in the meantime, one of the things, if it gets to be more problematic, that's another one of those things that hormone therapy will address. It will help even out that brain fog. But no, it is not a harbinger of losing your mind, nor is it a sign of impending dementia. It's just those hormone fluctuations that are going on. And I like your answer, Melanie. Own it. Just say, I'm not embarrassed, because when people around you understand what's going on, just take it. Yes. I sneezed. You don't have to apologize for that either. But, it's kind of thing where it's normal. Yeah. So we're going to go with that. All right, I'm going to have one more question from the audience. Let's see, is there here? Oh, here's a good one. Melanie,
Sneeze
I'm going to
and pee your pants a little bit.
I'm going to say, let's see. Since becoming famous, and you are menopause famous now, perimenopause famous, how have your relationships with friends changed? And have you been contacted now with friends who you haven't heard from in a decade?
You know what? I have always been pretty low-key anyway, so I don't really, I'm an introvert, good Lord. That's why I said, in my close friends, it's so funny because, you know, I live in South Florida, and my event was in Miami, and my close girlfriends, they came, and we had like a slumber party on Friday night, Saturday night. My life is just, it's very, very low-key and quiet. So, of course, you do have people messaging and stuff like that, but if it's any way in which I can help the next sister in any, you know, whatever it is, I'm going to do it. Now, you know, I can't just put you in touch with Halle Berry. Because that's just different. When she reached out to me, I said, "You lying to me?" It's funny because it's been a lot of celebrities and many people, you know, just reaching out. And Halle is always the story, and she doesn't mind me saying it. You know, getting on with her, and we got on a Zoom, and I was on the Sherry show the other day. I said I was trying to be sure that went AI. I just knew that was AI. I said, "Halle, move your head that way for me." and jump. I try to do little off stuff to see if it keep up, you know. Because I know this is not Halle on this other end. But I told her, I said, "Well, Halle, you know, I got a regular coochie and you got a bedazzled coochie." It ain't no way around that now. But we're gonna create magic with these coochies. With these dry coochies. But yes, so nothing. Melanie gonna be Melanie at the end of the day. Like, I'm not interested in all of that extra stuff, you know, that go along with foo-fooing and all of that. It's child no.
Well, you know, as we're sort of getting to the end of our segment today, I just want to say this, that there are a lot of things about perimenopause and menopause that, you know, Melanie has shown us you do have to let go of. You have to give yourself a little grace, you know, as we go from one phase of life to the other. But this is something that I do want you to care about. I want you to care about your health. I want you to care about how you age. I want you to be good, because I'm going to tell all my perimenopausal ladies out here and my postmenopausal ladies who can vouch for this, it gets better later. Once you get to the other side of this, you know, to be able to reinvent yourself, to be able to find another career, another purpose, is the first time in your life when you get on the other side in this menopausal journey, when you get to be your own priority. You're not worried about husbands and children and friends and whatever. But that's why you've got to make sure that you don't drive yourself crazy while you're in this transition, because you want to be in good enough shape such that when you're 50, 60, 70, that you have done what you needed to do so you age gracefully and well and healthfully.
I do want to ask this question quickly. So, because many of our postmenopausal sisters say that it's not getting better, what can they do different tomorrow to make it better?
Well, you know, I think that there's never a time at which it's too late to be better and to do better. You know, and I think that, you know, we all have heard ad nauseum all the things that you need to do to be healthy. You know, eat right, get a good night's sleep, exercise, you know, take your medications, make sure that you are attending to all those things. But I think it's really important, and I think that what a lot of people don't realize is that the life-changing effects really of taking hormone therapy. I mean, you know, and I don't, you know, we're all being honest here. You know, I'm 67 years old, and I've been on hormone therapy since I was 50. And that works for me. And, you know, and I think that, but we all of us, even if you've missed the boat or the window for when it's time to take hormone therapy, everybody can use vaginal estrogen and should, because if my sister has a dry coochie, we all have a dry coochie.
You better say it. Okay. You better say it. I was wondering, would Dr. Sharon Malone say coochie? Yes.
Melanie made me do it. I want to thank you so much for, making me proud that the DC DMV audience knows how to show up and show out. Melanie, isn't she the best? She's just the best. You're the best.
Oh, no.
See, if I knew how to do a selfie, I'd turn around and take one right now, but I don't really know how. I need a young person up here. But thank you so much for coming out, Melanie. It's just been fantastic.
Yeah, before you guys...
Is somebody going to come figure out how to take
He's bringing my phone. I want to do something.
I don't know how to do it. Let me see, what am I doing? Okay.
I want everybody to hold up your book.
Yeah, because we need to, let me take my glasses off here.
Oh, boy. Can we see? Okay, so we're going, on the count of 3, we're going to say we do not care, okay?
Okay, come on.
1, 2, 3. We do not care! Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness. Yay!
I hope I did that right.
Yeah, I'll send it to you. Hold on.
Okay, you'll send it to me.
Yes, y'all. I love y'all so much. I love you. The 2 things that I want y'all to just know in all of this. Number 1, you are not alone. You are not alone. You are not alone. And you are enough. You are enough. You are enough. Just the way that you are. You don't owe anybody anything. Love you.
Thank you so much to Melanie Sanders and Dr. Sharon Malone for bringing such sisterhood to 6th and I. If you have a ticket for the photo line, please stay seated and we'll call you up shortly. And someone's shouting Melanie. She's still going to be around to sign and to take some pictures. Rachel Bickford, you are the winner of the giveaway. So let's hear it for Rachel. I love it. So Rachel, come up here, and someone will make sure to give you what you're gonna get. And for everyone, you can exit using the main lobby and the lobby to your left. All of the exits are on this level. Don't go downstairs to exit. Autographed books, a limited number of photo line tickets are still available to purchase in the main lobby. Thanks, get home safe, and we hope to see you back here soon.
Nothing to lose, far away, far Ricochet, you take your aim.